Ahoy and welcome. I am Lee the Pirate Tester, and this time of year is often when people like to reflect on what they've been doing for the past year, all their highs and the lows, and I thought I would do the same with all of you. As such, I'd like to talk about what things I've been doing, what's gone so well, what's not gone so well, and just my general thoughts and feelings for it all. The first thing I'd like to talk about is this year I started a new job. So most of my software testing experience was at one company for like 11 years total at the company. Almost all of it was in software testing. In August last year, I changed to my second ever testing job. And then at the very end of May for Jubilee week in the UK, is when I changed to this job. I came here because my manager was my old manager at my second job, the job I left. Things weren't great there. The people were good, but the environment and so forth was not. He left and then he was like, "Hey Lee, would you like to come work with me again for a 50% pay increase?" It was not a hard choice to be like, yes, being able to do exploratory testing, trying new things, being one of the small number of testers in the company, so more of a chance to apply things, try stuff out, make a difference has been great. I'm still there, which is always fantastic. One of the other people that left my last job came with me, or we came together as it were. So it was jokingly speaking with the recruiter, finding out when each other's were and how we're doing and so forth. And it was also just good because we were both coming in the same role, chatting with each other about stuff and confirming that we were on the same pay, which is good because I am a middle class white guy and therefore dripping in privilege. And she is a woman, and that does not always end up well, but we are peers. We came in same pay, same benefit, everything. So, which is great. So, yeah, it's just been nice having a job which makes me feel more satisfied. There's still things that could be better with it, how I work with my team, what my future plans are, but I don't see me like I'm not planning my escape anytime soon, which is fantastic. Another thing I'd like to bring up that has been a big highlight for me this year was public speaking. I've MC'd at my local meetup for a couple of years, but that finished during the pandemic, like so many things do. I've spoken online. I've done like a little book review for an online conference before, but I've never done a in-person conference talk before, and it was my first time. It was done at Test Bash X Bucks in Milton Keynes in the UK. Unlike a lot of other conferences, it was you have a talk at the start, a day of activities, and then a talk to close with. And I had the closing talk. I was also asked if I minded volunteering one of the activities, which I'm actually really grateful for being asked to do because I could just focus on that and it stopped me overthinking my talk because I didn't really rehearse it until like the night before the day of the talk. It means that I could tweak things if and when I wanted to, but it also allowed me to speak with everyone there before the talk. So that was something that Simon Tomes from Ministry of Testing pointed out. Everyone there, I had been able to interact with. So I already had some level of connection with them, which was really nice. My talk went down well. It was very wordless on screen. It was just lots of pictures, the occasional a couple of words, but it wasn't reams of text. I tried to avoid having them reading whilst listening to me. It was generally, there was an image to reaffirm what I was talking about and let them focus on me. I got feedback afterwards of people being surprised that it was my first conference talk. I think a mix of doing YouTube, recording on podcasts, doing things online. Whilst it was my first in-person conference, it wasn't my first public speaking, and I think that helped. I need to think about what I want to do with the talk next. Do I submit it to some other things? Do I just turn it into a YouTube video here and let everyone see it as they want? So yeah, that's the difficult thing to work out, is what's the next steps for it. I'm probably more likely to turn it into a YouTube talk and just publish it rather than submit it to conferences. I worry I might either repeat myself. There's the whole imposter thing of, will they want to hear from me? Is the value add all that kind of stuff. But it was just so good to do. And the nice thing is, I got paid for doing it. So I got £150 for the talk. They also covered my travel and my accommodation the night before. And if I wanted it, I could have stayed the night of the talk and go back the following morning. But it would have interfered with my home life. As well as some work in the professional side, there's also been some personal things going on that I'd like to talk about, partly just because I'm a person and it's just nice to talk about person things. So one of them is I was in therapy for a while. It was one of the perks at my job. I was able to do therapy through work for free. So I was like, well, I know other people who have gone to therapy or are in therapy, not just previously done it. They found it useful. I don't have, thankfully, any big trauma in my past that I need to unpack, but it was still good to talk about some things. It got me thinking about myself, about certain events in my past that I either hadn't necessarily considered or just made me reflect on more. And it encouraged me to, if anything, be a bit more selfish with myself and put myself first some of the time rather than always feeling like I've got to serve others. It's always been something that's been very natural and automatic to me, is to put others first. That if I'm trying to make myself happy, I can't do it unless I care about how is it impacting others. But sometimes you need to take care of yourself first. Like the airplane analogy is, you've got to sort your own oxygen mask before you can help others. If I'm not taking care of myself properly, how can I properly help other people? And it would be a way for me to ignore my own problems, which would make them worse. So yeah, so it was even just little things like when I was having some evenings to myself, what do I want to do with them whilst family was away? And it was like, I'm actually going to go out for a meal, go to the cinema on my own, just enjoy some me time, just things like that. I've finished my regular sessions mainly because we got to a point of there wasn't anything that needed regular talking about, but I can always book the sessions ad hoc. So if something were to come up, I can talk it through. Another personal item is quite a major change in my life circumstances, which is getting divorced. That has started happening a couple of months ago. I've mentioned it on Twitter. Close friends know, a couple of people at work know, family know, but it's not like been pushed on Facebook or anything like that. But generally, there's no one really on like Facebook I'd want to tell that doesn't already know, or that I interact with really. Like the people I interact with regularly know, which is the important people. And it's thankfully it's not ending because of like abuse or affairs or anything negative like that, but it's more just over time we've drifted apart, we've become different people, we want different things, and it's better to have that bit of unhappiness now rather than being like things getting worse and just resentment growing and so forth. So it's a very weird and long and costly process. So like in the UK, you've got to go through, like I'm going through solicitors because it's a legal thing, but then paperwork goes to the court, and then once they've got it, there's a forced 20-week gap to allow things to be sorted out, to make sure that it's not people being too hasty and like regretting the decision they're doing. But it just makes it a long and slow process, and it's like £1,300 for like the court and solicitor fees, and just yeah, a lot of money. I don't know, like it's just going to be weird. I won't go into too much detail on here because this isn't the place for detail, but it's more of it's a part of my life. Like if I was getting married, it would come up. So this is the equivalent of I'm getting unmarried, which isn't the right term, but yeah, that is ending. I'm still me, but as such, it's got me thinking about myself more. And again, related to what happened with my therapist, is what is important to me? What do I want to do differently? So even like things like I've been wanting to add some color into my wardrobe. So I've been buying like new jumpers and things, been having like, I picked up like a blue and a red hoodie, which look nice and it makes a change from the usual greys and like natural looking tones, which is most of my wardrobe and a big pile of geeky t-shirts. And it's just like I got my hair cut. I've been wanting to get my hair dyed. I just need to find the right kind of color I want. It'll be like redecorating the house. It probably won't turn up in the camera because of how I'm doing it, but just here I got like a displayed frame of the logo from Final Fantasy VII to decorate the office because my to be ex-wives, which I need to come up with a better term for that. She had a frame there that I bought her as a present one year that will go with her when she moves out. So I wanted something that's mine in here, and it's just gonna be like rearranging things and working stuff out, and yeah, like there's no hostility between us, which is good. We're trying to be very amicable because I've seen so many horror stories online of how it goes badly or fighting or people being kicked out, and I'm so grateful it's not like that, and I hope it never becomes like that. So those are the key things that have happened to me in 2022. A new job, public speaking, taking care of my mental health through therapy, and changing my life circumstances to no longer be married. I hope you found this interesting. It's helped you understand me more as a person. It's maybe even encourage you to share some things about yourself, whether it's in comments below, whether it's in a blog, your own video, a podcast, even just chatting with a friend about, hey, these are all the things that have happened to me this year. I'd like to talk about it. It can be useful, like working in the kind of industry I do, like end of year reviews are a big thing, and as such, people always think about it. But it can be good to think about the non professional stuff as well, like what's happened to you, not just your career. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again.